In a day where the Detroit Lions defense got a boost by the return of C.J. Gardner-Johnson, at least to practice anyway, that 21-day window opens up today. We got some under-the-radar kind of news that I'm like, wow, this is really a thing. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Poole. Looks like the Detroit Lions quietly brought in some players to work out today. Coming from Pride to Detroit, I will link the full article in the description so you can take a look at it. Says, per the NFL visits list from Tuesday, the Lions worked out 3 players in Allen Park this week. Cornerbacks Thomas Graham and Jace Whitaker, and edge defender Matthew Betts. As of Wednesday afternoon, the Lions hadn't signed any of them. Now, I'm going to focus on Matthew Betts because he is the most intriguing of this entire lineup that they brought in. We found out last week that Jerry Jacobs has indeed been demoted as the number 2 cornerback. And we had, I want to say, Vildor and someone else come in and kind of fill that void. And we know that the Detroit Lions are devoid of a pass rush, even with the arrival of Bruce Irvin, who has come in, but he can only do so much, being 36 and on a bum ankle. And he has one more elevation before the Detroit Lions have to either waive him or bring him up to the active 53-man roster. But things got a little sticky with this, thinking about Matthew. But I want y'all to see this as to why he probably was brought in. The Lions are going on a playoff run, and we talked about Jason Pierre-Paul and Justin Houston that I brought up yesterday could be potentially us people that the Detroit Lions are looking at. The Detroit Lions have 30 sacks on the season. That ranks 27th in sacks. They are only above the Atlanta Falcons at 30, the New England Patriots at 29, the Chicago Bears at 25, the New York Giants at 24, and Kayvon Thibodeau has half those sacks. And Carolina, the first pick in the draft, and 20 sacks on the season. I don't think that is a coincidence at all. And the Detroit Lions had 38 in total last year, and this is during the regular season. So they would have to equal another 8. They would have to get 8 for in the next 3 games. So 2.5, 2.5, 2.5, some combination of 8 to equal what they had last year. Now, of course, we were down James Houston, but this guy here this is going to be interesting to see what the Lions do. Now, they worked him out. They brought him in, but as of today, they hadn't signed him. That doesn't mean that they won't sign any of these guys. They have to probably make moves on the roster. Now, you do have an hour after somebody is claimed off waivers to make a roster move, but maybe they're trying to cue something up for this playoff run. You never know. So if we see some roster changes happening, then one or multiple of these guys are coming in. But check this out. Betts is quite possibly the most interesting of visits this week. He just wrapped up a wildly successful season for the CFL BC Lions. Coincidence? I think not. Last month, Betts was named the top defensive player of the year for the CFL after tallying a league-high 18 sacks in 18 games. Then you could take a look at his highlight reel. I did check it out. I was very kind of interested in this guy after watching that. The Lions have been looking for a spark in their pass rush all season. While Aiden Hutchinson has been producing the 3rd most pressures in the NFL on one side, the Lions have rotated through Charles Harris, Romeo Okwara, Julian Okwara, and Derek Barnes, among others, looking for production. They recently added 36-year-old Bruce Irvin too, and could be hoping for a late return from James Houston, who is still on IR after fracturing his ankle early in the year. We'll see if the Lions decide to add any of these players to the 53-man roster or practice squad as they prepare for a playoff run. Now, this dude, man, I like what I saw. I did like what I saw, but the thing is the level of competition in the CFL. But you're talking about 18 sacks in 18 games. That's an average of 1 sack a game. You just wrapped up the CFL season, and you're trying to play in the NFL? Talk about somebody who's in football shape. This dude could be in too much football shape. I couldn't imagine. And when you watch the highlights, He got some skill, man. He got some skill. Matthew Betts. That's the guy. I would keep an eye, especially if the Detroit Lions aren't trying to claim one of the people that we talked about, the cut Jason Pierre. I'm sorry, the wave Jason Pierre-Paul or the cut Justin Houston. Kind of reminds me of somebody we already have, man. But you saw that it said Aiden Hutchinson, third most pressures in the NFL, but that's all on one side. And all those other guys combined can't even match the pressures that Aiden is doing. So apparently the Lions know we need pass rush, so we are not alone. I am not crazy, right? And I do know football. I know what I'm talking about sometimes. I'm not going to play the soundbite, or I should play the soundbite. You know what? I will play the soundbite because somebody told me not to play it, so.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
That is for whoever has told me to retire the soundbite. I will do the opposite of do that. So your best thing would be just to play it every video. That might make me retire it. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Again, you can check the description for this article's information and click on the link, man. Tell me what you think. After you watch it, come back. Tell me what you think of Matthew Betts. And do you think he could fit in with the Detroit Lions? He kind of remind me of a Kaminsky type player. Like, I think he could come in and do something. And you never know. We might actually waive Bruce Irvin. Like, hey, we got our three games out of you, man. We need, some fresh meat on this bone. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Will the Detroit Lions make any moves, man? Obviously, they're trying to still do something. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see somebody eventually that is on this roster that is not on here as of today. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.